This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day, and that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
More rewards, more savings. With American Express Business Gold, earn up to $395 back in annual statement credits on eligible purchases at select shipping, food delivery, and retail subscription merchants, including the $155 Walmart Plus monthly membership credit and $240 flexible business credit. Enjoy the benefits of membership with the Amex Business Gold Card. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card, built for business by American Express.
If you are interested in supporting this podcast and at the same time getting all my episodes ad-free, then please head to my website, 3dprintingbasicspod.com. Again, that's 3dprintingbasicspod.com. There you can find all the links to support me, my affiliate links, and as a perk, you can get all my episodes ad-free if you subscribe on Patreon, Spotify, or Apple Music. Again, all my links will be there, as well as a contact form if you have any questions. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, and welcome back to 3D Printing Basics. This is episode number 51, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about another 3D printing filament, that being PLA carbon fiber. PLA carbon fiber is just PLA filament with chopped carbon fibers in there that are reinforced. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is because I believe it is an easier filament for beginners to use rather than just straight carbon fiber filament, but it provides the same rigidity and strength that normal carbon fiber filament does. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Carbon fiber is an excellent choice for 3D printers who want the strength of the engineering grade filaments, but don't have the advanced printers that are capable of reaching the heat necessities and the speed necessities and the rigidity necessities to print these engineering grade filaments. And like I said, PLA is just what that is. It's PLA with chopped carbon fibers that are short enough so that they don't get clogged up in a standard nozzle, but long enough to provide the rigidity that carbon fiber is known for. This episode is brought to you by PCBWay. Ready to take your electronics projects to the next level? PCBWay offers everything you need, from custom PCBs to 3D printing and even CNC machining, all under one roof. They're trusted by engineers and makers worldwide for their exceptional quality and fast turnaround. And here's a special deal for listeners of 3D Printing Basics. Use the promo code 3DPrinting2 SQUARED to get $10 off your first order. Start your next project with PCBWay and see the difference for yourself. Head over to PCBWay.com today. Its print settings are almost exactly the same as PLA2. You can print it, the recommendation is anywhere from 195 to 220 nozzle temperature and a bed temperature of around 50 degrees, although it is not necessary. And it is also very cheap. I'm looking at it right now and I'm seeing carbon fiber PLA for as low as $19.50 per kilogram. That's US dollars, which is just about the same as you can find normal PLA for. So that's really nice that there is an alternative out there that is just as cost effective as normal PLA, but adds the strength and rigidity of these engineering grade filaments. I just think it's a really good entry point for beginners who want to upgrade their filament game and try some filaments outside of kind of the big three that I like talking about, that being PLA, PETG, and TPU. The only kind of negative that I'm seeing with PLA carbon fiber is some people are reporting that if you print really thin parts, then it is kind of brittle. And it does say on Protopasta's website that they advertise for PLA carbon fiber is that the roll itself is brittle and it will snap before you print. So you need to be careful when you're handling it. But in my opinion, those trade-offs are worth the added rigidity that you get from just printing regular PLA. And there is also PETG carbon fiber, which is essentially the same exact thing, but you're taking the more flexibility that PETG offers and the temperature resistance and combining it with the strength of the carbon fibers. And that kind of creates the best of both worlds scenario where it's a little bit better than PLA plus carbon fiber. It's a little bit more expensive, but PETG plus carbon fiber seems kind of the happy medium from what I've seen in my research with all the different opinions on it, because like I said, you are getting the properties of PETG, which is already quote unquote better than PLA. It's a little bit more difficult to print. You need a little bit more heat, but if you print it right, the PETG plus those carbon fibers added in are going to be a really nice combination for any kind of prints that you want to use. All right, so let's get into some tips when it comes to printing these filaments. The first and foremost biggest thing to look out for is that you use a hardened steel nozzle rather than just a normal brass nozzle, because the carbon fiber filaments, they are pretty much indestructible. They will wear out your brass nozzle and open up the diameter. So if you're using a 0.4 millimeter nozzle, it will no longer be 0.4, but your printer doesn't know that, and so you will come out with inaccurate and poor quality prints. So make sure you're using a steel or a hardened steel nozzle, even better, because those carbon fibers are very abrasive and they will wear out your print bed. Another thing to look out for is if you have the availability to do it, then enclose your printer. If you have an enclosed printer, make sure you keep that door closed, because the carbon fibers in there make it a little bit more difficult to get proper bed adhesion. And if you have the space inside the printer, the place that it's printing in, if it's heated, then it will just help you that much more in ensuring that you get good first layer adhesion, that there's no warping or anything, and that you get a perfect print every single time. Another thing that you're going to have to consider is your retraction settings. Your retraction settings might need to be a little bit more or a little bit less, just because with the carbon fiber, it's a little bit unpredictable in terms of stringing and blobbing. You're going to have to watch your first couple prints carefully, kind of analyze and see what's going on there and if you need to make any changes. And also print speed, the same thing applies there. A lot of what I've seen in my research suggests that you need to print it a little bit slower than you print normal PLA, although all the big companies that sell it advertise it as you don't need to make any changes, you just print it the same as normal PLA and it comes out exactly the same. But from most of the personal manifestos that I've read, it seems like you need to slow down your print speed just a little bit, maybe because those carbon fibers are so abrasive, it takes a little bit more force to get them out, so you need to print them a little bit slower just to get a proper detail on there. A tip that I saw specifically that applies to PETG carbon fiber printing is to make sure that your filament is completely dry. It seems like filament drying is very important with PETG filament, because PETG, as we know, does absorb a lot of moisture, and you need to watch your cooling fan, because excessive cooling could cause warping, especially with PETG prints. They already have a hard enough time sticking to the bed, even though they're known as kind of a stickier material or something that would stick a little bit better to the bed. I have had my fair share of problems with first layer bed adhesion when it comes to printing with PETG. So that's just something to look out for. Make sure you're watching your first couple prints closely, and make sure you do that with any new material that you're using. It's important that you watch the first couple prints, learn from what's going on, see if there's anything that you could change to make it better, so that you can consistently get good quality prints off the printer every single time with that material if you're going to use it in the future. The last thing I wanted to mention was, with any carbon fiber filament that you are using, if you are intending to do anything post-processing wise, like sanding it, painting it, or anything like that, if you are going to be altering them, whatever you printed in any way, please use proper ventilation, wear a mask, and wear goggles. If you sand this stuff, the dust that comes off of it is incredibly toxic and bad for your lungs, because there are carbon fibers in that dust, and that is essentially just like sandpaper on your lungs, your throat, your nose, anything that you use to breathe. So please take care to have the proper ventilation and wear a mask if you're going to be doing post-processing on any of your carbon fiber prints. And with that being said, that's all I have for you guys today. I appreciate all the support that you guys have given me. Please reach out to me through my website if you guys have any questions, anything that you might want me to make a podcast episode about. I just went to a conference called MD&M West. There was a lot of 3D printing companies there, and I talked to a few of them in regards to interviewing them, so I hope I can set up a few interviews very soon coming out for you guys. I will definitely keep you updated there. With that being said, thank you guys so much for listening and supporting me, and I'll talk to you next time.